everybody, and welcome once again to the Spartan Sports Report on TV3. Sam and I are happy to have the athletic director at CHS with us, and Brent Duncan. When is the rain going to stop so we can play on Mondays?
I have to turn that over to the wiser, older people than I am. That's what you're supposed to know. I don't know. It's just one of those crazy springs. It's been a while since we've had one like this. But
Yes. So making it up for the good weather, right?
making it up for a mild winter, I think.
Okay. A lot of things postponed today, but is baseball on at Lawrenceburg?
Yeah, baseball was actually supposed to be at our place today, but our field is not playable. Lawrenceburg says they're dry, so JV game got postponed down there. We'll send the varsity guys down there and we'll try to make a flip-flop on Thursday and bring them back up.
Very well may be dry. I was in Greensburg and Batesville this morning, and they had very little rain, and until I got to Shelbyville on I-74 heading to Indianapolis, I didn't see any rain. It rained hard then, but so they probably telling you the truth.
Yeah, and then we moved softball down to Franklin County, and he just called me about 30 minutes ago, and they just got deluged, so that got postponed again. After it was supposed to be here, we were moving it to there. And track is postponed for middle school, and tennis is postponed because it's too wet. It's just not a very good day.
Okay, we'll try to change things.
Let's hope.
Okay. Speaking of softball, that's a good change.
Yeah.
The Lady Spartan softball team's doing very well.
Yeah, they're playing well. I think we have one loss currently, and
Right, to
trying to make
Newcastle.
up some games, and hopefully we'll get everybody in. So
How does that work with the schedule being interfered with the weather and the conference?
well, the conference will have to take place, so we're going to try to make up Lawrenceburg Wednesday or Franklin County Wednesday if we can. And if not, we're going to may have to do some shuffling with non-conference opponents. So unfortunately, sometimes those get dropped off the wayside.
But
not
you have
by
to play
us.
7 games in the conference, right?
14.
14
each team
games
twice.
in the conference.
So,
So that's each team twice?
yep, and that's half of our games. We can play 28. So it'll be a struggle, but we're not the only ones in that boat. And I think a lot of the
Yes.
conferences, when it gets down to crunch time, it'll be, sorry, got to make up a conference game. See you later. We get those phone calls every now and then too. So
Of course, we're in the final week of April with May coming up, and sectional time.
won't be long.
Then what happens?
Well, hopefully we have 6 sectional championship and we'll move on to the regional. That's the plan.
That's the plan right now.
I don't know. I think May 17th is the start of girls track sectional, and the 19th is the boys. And I think
So that-
tennis starts on the 18th and continues on the 20th. So let's hope that Spartans have some hardware coming home after the spring. And baseball's off to a rough start, but really for the most part they've been in every game but maybe 2, and I think we're dangerous. It's just got to keep our bats alive.
Lady Spartans in softball doing very well. What's the key there? Do you know?
Well, it's like Willie May says, they throw it and we hit it, and they hit it and I catch it.
Is it a veteran club or?
We're young. We have a couple seniors, but for the most part,
Well,
we're
that's
pretty
great
young, so.
for the girls to be doing so well.
Yeah, I mean, they put a lot of time in. They played a lot when they were younger and traveled a little bit, and those things pay off in the long run. And as long as our pitching can hold up and we can keep people off strides, softball's one of those sports that just takes one lady to dominate the game, and she's standing on that pitcher's mound. It doesn't take long to take bats out of your hand.
So we must be pretty good in that department.
Yeah, I mean, we're adequate. I won't say that. I don't want anybody to take this as a slam. I don't think we have that one just stud pitcher that just blows it by everybody, but we have 2 or 3 different girls, or maybe even 4 that can come in and throw the ball. So hopefully if one's not on, the other one is, and sometimes it's just a matter of location and not necessarily speed, but where you're putting it at all the time.
Yes.
So hopefully that will continue. So hopefully we get a chance to play. So
Yeah, right. That's the next thing that has to be worked on is the weather, right?
if we had control of that, we'd all be in good shape, wouldn't we?
Right, in more ways than one.
You're right. So, but won't be long. We'll be in May, and we'll be talking about summertime stuff and getting ready
That's
for the
true.
fall. So,
Right. The boys softball team sort of struggling, but they only have, one senior?
yeah, we have 2 boys playing baseball that are seniors, and Gavin Lynch has played for all 4 years, and Daniel Leo came out this year for his first time. So we had a few kids that didn't come back. We had a couple kids that are injured that couldn't come out. So it doesn't take many to upset the apple cart and change the rotations.
Sure.
And when some of those kids who didn't play this year for whatever purposes are pitchers, so it kind of hurts your staff a little bit. But you see moments of our bats coming alive, and then they kind of go quiet again. So pitching for the most part on the whole year has been fairly solid. So just a matter of we can get our bats swinging.
Defensively must be doing decent too. I mean, like you said, they're right in games. So.
Yeah, we don't make too many errors. I mean, we'll have a few, but we went for a long stretch without making an error. So kids are all solid, and around the field and infield, and you just never know. It's the same as softball. The pitcher can keep you off stride and mix it up on you a little bit. It makes it tough to stay in the rhythm, and if you can change that batter to batter or person to person, it sure makes it hard if you're not sure what they're throwing. So
it's great that the kids can stay positive and come back night after night and be competitive, and credit that to the coaching staff as well.
Yeah, I think our kids are still excited. We've just been on the short end of a lot of ball games. I mean, our first 4 games in baseball were 1-0.
Yeah.
And then we had a 22-20 game that we were on the short end of, and then we had one real bad game against East Central, and other than that, we've been, East Central got us the other night, but it was 6-1 or 6-2, but the score was 2-0 for a long time and 3-1 and so forth. So you're right there. It's just a matter of getting the right hits at the right time. Or we've had a couple of base running blunders that's taken us out of innings, and that's just kids. Sometimes they miss a sign, or they don't, or I think I can get there. So look, and they just keep running. So. Or I sneak too far off the base and I get picked off, or whatever the case might be. So, just different things.
Track team's doing okay, aren't they? Tracking.
Yeah, we have some solid individuals. The boys have done pretty well, and the girls have their moments where they do well. And I know Brooke Sudoff broke the high pole vault record. I think she went 10-4 the other day, and I think some kids broke some of the old records that we used to recognize in the IHSA, the 4x200, which I think they run sometimes occasionally at invitationals or in the inside meets, but it's not one of the 16 recognized running events that they score at the state meet anymore. So for us old folks, the last time I looked, I went back to the year 2000 because that's about as far as we decided to go back, and we couldn't find the 4x200 being run there for any score. So it's been gone for over 20 years, but a lot of the invites still run those things. So,
and we were able to break that old record.
Whatever that record is.
Whatever that is. Somebody knew that. I saw that on social media.
Yeah, the boys broke it, whatever, and whoever held it for the end, that long time ago, but it's not one of those.
But we don't know, well, if they haven't run it.
Yeah, I mean, the coaches keep it, for the last 14 or 15 years, they've been keeping up with it. So, but it's not one of those that we get up on the record board because it's not one of the 16 events that are competed for anymore. Otherwise, if you had every record that was set in track, we'd have lots of different records. You have the 180 hurdles, and there's all kinds of events that took place that don't happen anymore. Triple jump, we tried triple jump in high school before, and they don't do that anymore. And I always joke we could have the javelin catch, but that would be a one-time thing. So, but some states have steeplechase. Ohio runs a steeplechase in high school, and they throw the hammer. We don't throw the hammer. A lot of things go wrong throwing the hammer. It's just swinging that big thing on a rope around and letting it fly. It's a little heavier than a discus. But
this took place in Ohio the other day?
Yeah, Eaton has a relay that we went over to on Saturday. So it used to be on a Thursday night, and a couple of years ago they switched it to Saturday, which was probably a better move on their part. And kids did well.
Perfect day for it.
Yeah, it's one of our best days. I was really surprised. I got my truck at one point in time, it said 89 degrees on the thermometer. I'm like, oh, it's been a while since we've been at 89. And of course, this week we're talking about going back into the 30s and 40s again. So, and obviously today we're full of rain again. So,
Indiana.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd be any different than anywhere else. I guess the desert, up in the mountains, maybe. I don't know.
When will the track and field section be?
I think the girls is the 17th of May and the boys is the 19th of May.
And that's here?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and then girls tennis is in that same week on the 18th and the 20th. So.
And where is that?
In our place.
We got great facilities for tennis.
I mean, I think, and the kids obviously enjoyed playing at home. Baseball is at Rushville. I want to say softball's at Franklin County. And golf will be either at Forest Hills or the Elks in Richmond. So and that won't be until June. That's the last section that rolls off.
They don't play out at Highland anymore?
No, I used to a long time ago.
We used
but
to. I know when Ben was playing, it was always windy out there.
Kind of complained about Forest Hills a little bit because that's definitely a different course if you've not played it or don't have access to play it during the year. So at least Elks is a little more fair for every kid that's playing. So the Forest Hill greens are kind of like putting on glass, and if you're not used to that, and there are certain places there that you can't put your ball prior to getting the green, and if you don't know that, then you don't have a shot at getting close. So good move to make it to the Elks. It's a lot more fair for everybody. So.
Does HSA have certain criteria to determine where sectionals will be played and so forth?
I think it's just people who can run a good tournament. I've offered to host, but haven't got it yet. So I've said I'd be more than happy to host, but whatever they want us to host. So with the sectional, with baseball and softball, it's determined by the people in the sectional. So
Okay.
kind of rotates around a little bit. Like we had softball sectional last year. So we didn't get it this year, but that's okay. We got other events. So
The coaches' input welcome by the HSA when they make decisions, or?
usually the AD, if you're talking about sectional time, so they're not going to just give it to anybody that doesn't have the facilities or the ability. You know, like for us with soccer, our field's not, it's a regulation size, but it's not as big as it can be, and we don't have lights currently. I think there's plans to put those up here in the near future, but they also now look for somebody that also has a turf field, so if the rain comes, they don't have to wash the vents out. So, you know, that's some reason why, you know, Greenfield gets it a lot, or Mount Vernon, because they have the turf on the football field, and they also have grass soccer fields at both those places. So Richmond's the same way. So
Who's in on the decision making when it comes time for that?
this depends. They ask different people around the state to be on those alignment committees. So ADs, principals, coaches, if they run out of ADs, yeah, they don't typically run out of ADs that want to be on them though. So they probably have about anywhere from 8 to 10 on the committee. So.
Do you know of anything right around the corner that the HSA might be coming up with that could be changes, or?
Well, you know, I always have classification this year, so you're going to find out in May what sectional we're going to be in after the board meeting on May 2nd and May 3rd, and then we should figure out where we're all going next year for everything in the fall and the winter. Spring won't be done until after baseball and softball are over. So
Centerville in the area has moved up to 3A, and you were saying there was Indianapolis area school that's moved.
well, Brownstown Central, I think, down by Seymour has moved up, but and I think Madison might have went from 4 to 3. So you never know who's on that committee and who does the realignment where the lines are drawn. They usually start in one of the corners of the state and they kind of work their way around. It's hard to start in the middle and work your way out because too many schools in that tight area, then you get spread out, and southern Indiana gets really messed up sometimes because there's a lot of space in between people. But
and we're solidly in 3A at about the 7th largest or something like that.
Yeah, we're towards the top.
Towards the top, but no chance of, there was no chance of moving to 4A.
no, I mean, we could opt to go up, but I'm not sure why you'd want to opt to go up. So in today's age, you know, class is class, and if you win your class, you're just as important as winning the class above you. So
It was interesting, North Davies, who we will see, that is girls sectional Saturday,
February 5th, give or
when the
take.
North Davies boys come to Spartan Bowl. They won the 1A state championship in basketball, and due to enrollment have moved up to 2A, but they've decided to play in 3A, which I think is very interesting, and I give them a lot of credit that that they feel like they can compete in 3A.
well, it makes you wonder. I mean, I know they have a good group of juniors. So we inked them for 1 year. Their head coach is actually a Rushville person. And I told him that we would not be making the return trip to North Davies High School. And he says, good, I don't want you to come back, which makes me wonder what their classes below what they have is. So, but I'm happy not to make that 3-hour drive to North Davies to go play.
The only time I want to make that drive is when we're going to Washington to play regional.
Well, let's hope next time it's somewhere else. Those will all be reassigned after this year as well. So maybe we'll get lucky and get one of them.
Madison, you said the possibility Madison moved back down to 3A. They were in the sectional we're playing in at one time, so they could be added. Centerville maybe could be added geographically if the sectional stays here. Centerville, you know, it's a 15-mile trip to Connorsville. It would make a lot of sense, but then there's talk that they may go to Newcastle as well.
Well, you never know. You know. We've been anywhere from Newcastle to Lawrence North and past Anderson going to Richmond, and which never made any sense to me. But who knows? It's just depends on which way they want to send us. We could easily go north as we could go south. If Madison, I think Madison was 4A before this year, and if they go to 3A and Brownstown Central goes to 3A, do they take some of ours that's in the bottom and shift them with them and then bring them up with us? I don't know. So we'll wait and see. I know the board meeting's May 2nd and May 3rd, and we should know after that, however fast they put that out. So
It's fun to speculate.
everybody does, but it's hard to say. I could see it's going either direction. So
It's confusing at a time with this classification because some schools are in 4A in one sport, 3A in others, and it's all based on enrollment.
yeah, absolutely. Unless you have success factors that makes you move up. So and there's talk about reclassifying and going to 5 classes. So then they'll change all the numbers again. So, but that would be strictly based on enrollment size and not 96 in this class and 96 in this class, which is kind of where it's at right now. So it'd be strictly on a number.
And this once again doesn't affect the schedule, the season scheduling.
No, we're going to still play the same people and
Sure.
the people that we think we need to play to get better at whatever sport. And I think right now in the EIC, volleyball plays a couple games against each other twice, and after this year we're going to just get down to once because we're going to do that with 3 schools. And 2 years ago we could stop doing each other twice, and it's just a matter of finding people that want to
Yes.
be able to pick up that fits into the schedule somewhere and not have to play Greensburg twice in volleyball or Franklin County twice. We can if we want to, but it's better if we can play different people instead of playing each other. It's the same way in baseball. We play each other 14 times. And then we turn around and play each other in a sectional. So it's a lot of games against each other. So
And both games count, and it's not like in basketball, if you play the same team twice, only one of them counts
right, basketball,
towards the standings.
basketball, volleyball, it's always a second game, but in baseball it's both.
How do you
And
keep all
softball's
this
both.
straight?
That's why we have Steve Cotherman, that's the treasurer of the secretary of the conference, and he keeps it all in line. No, I keep the rotation of who's going where and who's hosting what each year inside the conference. And when our meetings are, that's my job. That I took over when Mark Ferguson left Batesville, and Mark and I go way back to 1980 something when I taught his kids at Knox High School, coached his boys in basketball, and then he happened to move to Batesville and I moved to Connersville, so we kind of reconnected after about 20 years, and it's pretty good. So,
Right.
but it's a convoluted thing on a spreadsheet and color coded, so you know if it's fall, winter, spring that you're hosting. So
Well, it's good that this North Davies this team that's coming, that'll be great for Connersville fans to get to see.
yeah, I hope so.
champion.
We'll have that on that Saturday afternoon of the girls basketball sectional, and then we're doing our invitational again that we did last year in one day, and we have all those teams solidified and ready to come. So hopefully another day of basketball in the wintertime. So
Refresh our memory again on those teams for that one day.
for the girls, it's Winchester and Madison wanted to return, and Lawrence North is sending their girls team. And then for the boys, it's Lawrence North. Even though we dropped them off the schedule, they still wanted to come and play us.
With a new coach.
Even though, yeah, that's probably why, because Jack hates coming to our place. So, and then Rock Creek Academy, which is down by Sellersburg, Indiana, is coming up. They're a small school, got a 7-footer and a 6'7" kid. And Fort Wayne Concordia is coming down. So, we want to play people we're not going to see in
Yeah,
the schedule.
I think that's great. You get teams in from
And
both
if
ends of the
Lafayette
state.
Jeff would have chimed in a little bit earlier, we may not have had Rock Creek Academy and had Lafayette Jeff, but they were waiting on the wedding and they didn't get invited, and by the time they got back to me, we'd already inked all of them. So we can't sit around and wait sometimes. So, because if you do, then you're the one on the outside trying to find somebody.
But maybe on the list for the following year.
Down the year, and we just had a couple of schools dropped out of the Spartan Classic, so we're trying to pick up some more of those. And got a boys golf invite coming in May, and it's now got 16 teams coming. So I just seem to keep adding them. So about ready to run out of cards. So Doug said, don't get too many more.
Spartan fans are very happy about having some holiday tournaments here.
Well, I think so. Less your kids have to travel during the holidays,
Sure.
better. So, it's just a busy week for the bowl and with basketball, and of course the 32 wrestling team coming in. And right before the holidays, we got a swim invitational the weekend usually that the holiday break happens. So, just a busy time.
The That opening shootout that we've been in with the girls, that's still going on this coming year?
Yeah, this is year 4. I know they sent an email out about whether we want to return or not, and we haven't made up our mind yet. If we want to return to that, that's a tough road to hoe coming right out of the chute. So,
Yeah,
or if we want to find two
have
more
New Pal right after that.
or if we want to find 2 more individual teams instead of getting into the shootout. So I haven't told them yet. Michelle and I have been talking about it a little bit. So
Where would that be this?
this year it should be at Ritter. Mm-hmm. So it started at Southport, then went to Decatur Central, then came to us, and this year it should be at Ritter. So I don't know. It's not bad, but
Yeah.
and our girls are getting better, so it may not be something we want to stay with. But it's also good after a while to find different things to do. Then
And as you said, to open up with that, mid-season that might
Right.
that might be
Yes.
different.
well, our girls basketball schedule, that's a meat grinder getting out of the chute.
Yeah,
So it's not easy.
yeah. That what is it? New Pal, Mount Vernon, and
Yeah, that
somebody else
tournament-
right off the bat.
Yeah, they're all solid in the front end of that. So, and that's how kind of our football is on the back end. Not that the front end's not good, but typically 2 of the best 3 are always sitting at the back end of that. So,
Speaking of football, are any changes in that schedule?
I'm working on it. I can't say out loud because
Okay.
we have a contract left with one school, but if I can get out of it, Speedway's actually interested in us. So, we're trying to work out a deal with the team from the south.
We know who that is.
Most everybody on our schedule is south of us, so
And
you can't say which one
I
I'm
was
talking
kind of
about.
looking forward to going there, but I understand not wanting to go there as well. I mean, it's really
Well, I think-
it's really no farther than Speedway.
No, it's not, but there's just something making sure you're at the school on the same calendar all the time. Not that Kentucky is not, but you just never know. They can change their school calendar, then our weeks may rotate differently, and then you're stuck. So I've emailed the gentleman 4 or 5 times, and he's not replied yet. So either he's not there or he's just not
He's
responding.
ignoring you.
I mean, you can always get out of a contract if you want to buy him out, but and Speedway actually said they would help us with that if we had to. So, and I said that's not necessarily the issue. It's just I don't like to just pull the plug on somebody that you've
Right.
signed a contract with
yeah.
for 2 years without them being open to look. So,
And maybe they're looking
but you never
before
know.
they give
And
you an answer.
you heard so many things last year. Our options for them are Cathedral. Then you hear all the rumors, well, we got paid to play them, and no, we didn't get paid to play them, and no, we didn't pay them to come up here, and no, they didn't pay us so they could break their losing streak. But those are all the rumors that go flying around when you play somebody that they're solid. I mean, but
Very solid.
They treated us on the football field with a lot of respect.
Yes, they did. Yes,
It
they
could have
did.
easily
Unlike some that we played in the.
It could have been as bad as they really wanted it to be at that point in time. So let's hope that changes.
I thought that when we went sectional game at Mount Vernon, they treated us with a lot of respect there as
They
well,
did.
and I appreciated that.
We got one of the ex-Connersville kids was the quarterback going in at the end. Little Jason Joy's boy was the last quarterback that went out there, the third stringer. So, but we hope, was our new football coach, and we actually got lucky and got our second choice in as our school system as well. So that's a positive. So they're going to be on the staff as well, and going to be our head wrestling coach. So.
And that is
Dan Capps. He's from Richmond. He's over here working already and been their wrestling coach in and out for 12 years and been on their football staff and he's going to teach at the high school and be our head wrestling coach.
great.
So
Great.
I think our kids are excited, and we'll hook him up with Colton Massey and see where they fit. Like we do with everybody else, they have to sit and talk with the head coach, and hopefully Colton will want to stay apart and Dan will want him apart. And I think he's got a buddy from Richmond that's got a kid that's a college wrestler that may have a little interest in coming and helping as a volunteer assistant or whatever. So that's
Hopefully
good for us.
Get some continuity here.
Yeah, I
it's
think
been a
we've
rough time for the
It has
for
been.
the wrestling kids.
It's been real tough, and some
Through no
unfortunate-
fault of their own.
Right, none of theirs. And we talk about it a lot just at the middle school. You think of as I got here, Franz Perlock and Sam Morris and Dave Reeve were pretty staples in most of the coaching positions. And in the last decade, it's just a constant rollover in certain sports. And it's hard to get continuity if you're constantly changing the face at the middle school. And no offense to the people there now that are doing a good job and trying their best, but it's nice to have somebody that is going to be there year in and year out, and the kids understand what they're looking at. And sometimes right now that doesn't seem to be the case. It's just such a turnover. And whether that's their own personal choices or they want to get out and go watch a kid or, whatever the case may be. But it's hard to find good quality middle school coaches, and that's where you need some really talented people to help foster and grow those relationships.
Yeah, in all sports, yeah.
Yeah, not just, anything. It's all what we offer, so.
What size school is Speedway?
I'd say they're probably a 3A school if I was guessing off the top of my head without looking.
2A?
3A, I think.
3A, okay. Be comparable to Connersville.
Yeah, I would say close. Of course, mostly city kids or whatever. West Side kids of Indianapolis. So.
Is the school's close to the racetrack?
I think it's right down the block.
Just west.
Just across. I think people park there on race day.
Okay.
They probably charge them to park in the lot.
Nice school. I've been in there
Is it?
for
I've been in a long,
Lions
long
Club
time ago.
meetings. Used to have in their district meetings, but nice school. Walked into their gym. Speedway Spark Plugs. What a great mascot name there
Right,
for
great
them.
name.
They've been over to the bowl a couple of years in the regional, and I actually think their AD came down and refereed one of our girls' basketball games this year, Brian Avery. So.
Well, it'd be a nice addition if you need someone to fill on the schedule. It'd be a good school.
Let's hope I can work something out and get him here. If not next year, the year after, because I said I'm still looking for the year after. So if we can't ink it in now, let's ink it in starting the year after, and we'll just figure it out after that. So.
They play mostly Indianapolis schools, I mean.
Yeah, pretty much as you look at their schedule.
Stay in the area.
They were 8-4 last year, but before that they've been around the 500 mark consistently for a while. So.
Do you find Indianapolis schools that do not want to travel very far?
I'll hold my tongue.
They think this is a long
They think
way.
we're like in the
They're
next-
not like
I think
us.
they think we're in the next state over.
Yeah.
It's a
Some
real
of them.
trip. Bring your lunch.
Not all of them. And I hear our people say like, gosh, why do we have to drive to New Pal? Well, that's really only a 40-minute drive. It's not. And we had a guy complain about why the basketball regional had to be in Logansport one year from the northwest side, and I want to say it was a Brownsburg parent. And they said, well, don't you play like Fishers and Hamilton Southeastern? How long does it take you to get there? Because, well, through traffic, about 40 minutes. He says, yeah, and it's 40 minutes from your place to Logansport without traffic. So what's the difference? It's just the thought you're driving to Logansport, not the time that it takes you to get there. It's the same time as getting around the loop in Indianapolis to get to someplace.
We used to say on our license plates, "Wander Indiana." I still think it's good to wander Indiana.
Yeah, my dad and I, when I was young, we wandered everywhere. And I always find it funny now that people can't figure out where the bowl's at. And my dad and I used to just stop at the gas station and say how to get to the high school gym. Not anymore. They all punch in, even though you tell everybody that we don't play at the high school.
Out on
They
Ranch
still
Road,
punch in the old
That's happened before.
1100 Spartan Drive, and that one team got lost at 5:40 instead of 4:40 on a Saturday afternoon. It's like game starts at 6. Gonna get lost an hour earlier.
Yes.
So, but you can't fix those things. You just can adjust and adapt and move on.
It's all part of it.
Sometimes you make up a little white lie and tell them that their bus broke down on the way and had issues, so they know that they're just. We've done that before just to make sure that the fans understand they're coming, but they didn't. Not that they got lost getting here. So.
It's a lot to look for, a lot of responsibility when you have teams coming in here.
Yeah, I think you want to put on a good show, and I think for the most part, I think most of our schools are pretty complimentary of what we do here. So, fans and kids, and our kids are pretty respectful when they play, and that's a plus. So.
When's the deadline for having all the schedules complete for the next season?
Whenever. We're mostly done now. Football's done until about 2027 with officials, so they're about 6 years out. So basketball's at least a full year out, if not 2 officials. And some contracts are 4 years and some are 2, so they just roll out. Then we just decide if we want to keep them. If not, we'll go searching for somebody to take their place. So somebody's always wanting a game somewhere.
You mentioned something about buying out if you're.
Well, if we have to. If you have to break a contract and you don't fulfill, you have to pay a penalty.
Oh, do you?
So if they will just agree to let us out, you don't have to buy them out. But that's
Is that
a
a
possibility.
standard price? Is it that the
Basketball
ICSA
and
says?
football have a different price than the other
I see.
sports. Yeah. So.
Well, hopefully it doesn't happen. But
Yeah, we've never had to do it before, so we've usually been able to get out of a contract by mutual agreement, but haven't heard back from them yet. So.
thanks a lot, Brent, for joining us here
No,
on this
pleasure to be
edition of the Spartan Sports Report on TV3. And everybody, thanks for watching and have a nice evening.